Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello. Introduce, my name is Octaviana Putri. I will study. I come from 1B. Here I will make a video about impulse and momentum. Strike 2. In accordance with Newton's first law, when an object is at rest, is moved, it tends to remain at rest. Likewise, when an object is in motion, it is stopped. It tends to keep moving. This is the concept of inertia or inertia. To move a stationary object or stop a moving object, a greater force is required. This time, we will discuss impulse and momentum related to this. Impulse as explained earlier, we need a force to make a stationary object move. An example is when we kick a ball that is still on the field. The ball will fly when we kick it. The kicking force on the ball includes a contact force that acts only for a short time. This style is called the impulse force. The product of this force and the time it acts on the object is called impulse. So, mathematically, impulses can be written as follows. I is F multiplication different T impulse, where I impulse, F is impulse force Newton, different T change in time T2 minus T1 second. Since the impulse is derived from the quantity of force over time, it is a vector quantity because force is a vector quantity. The direction of impulse I is in the same direction as the impulse force V. If the impulse for F, which change with time interval, is curved by Ft, then the shading area in the time interval different T, where different T is T2 minus T1 equals the shading area under the graph Ft with the value boundary of T1 when contact occurs up to T2 when contact ends. Graphic impulse is area under the Ft grab. If the time of the collision impulse is longer, then the force acting on the object will be smaller. Number 2, momentum. Pay attention to the two picture about if the two vehicles are moving at the same speed. Which do you think of the two vehicles? Which is more difficult to stop? Then, if there are two vehicles with the same mass moving at different speeds, which one is more difficult to stop? A vehicles with a low speed or a high speed? These questions are the concept of momentum. In accordance with Newton's one law, which was explained earlier, an object in motion will continue to tend to move so that it is difficult to stop. Momentum is a measure of the difficulty of stopping an object in motion. Mathematically, momentum is divided as the product of its mass and velocity. Pay attention to the two pictures above. If the two vehicles are moving at the same speed, mathematically, momentum is divided as the product of its mass and velocity. P is m multiplication v momentum, where P is momentum kilogram meter per second. M is massa kilogram. V is velocity meter per second. Since momentum is obtained from the product of velocity and mass, then momentum is a vector quantity because velocity is a vector quantity. The direction of momentum P is in the same direction as the velocity v. In one dimension, the direction of momentum is simply shown as a positive or negative sign. The relationship between impulse and momentum. In accordance with Newton's two laws, then V is m multiplication I, where I is different V divided different t, is velocity 2 minus velocity 1 divided different t. So, V is m multiplication velocity 2 mean velocity 1 divided different t. F multiplication different t is m multiplication velocity 2 minus m multiplication velocity 1. F multiplication different T is momentum R P2 minus momentum R P1. I is different P. Okay. Example task. Example task. A ball with a mass of 120 grams is thrown horizontally against the wall at a speed of 30 meters per second and bounces back. If the ball is reflected at the same rate, then the ball impulse that occurs is, let's go. Discussion. From the question, it is known M is 120 kg is 0,12 kg. Velocity 1 is 30 meter per second. Velocity 2 is minus 30 meter per second. So the impulse are I is different P. I is massa multiplication different V is massa multiplication velocity 2 min velocity 1. I is 0,12 multiplication minus 30 is 0,12 multiplication minus 60 is minus 7,2 ns. The minus sign here show the direction, so the direction is different from the original direction because the ball is bouncing. This answer is B, 7,2 ns. Okay, next, number 2. A motor with a mass of 200 kg rider traveling at a speed of 40 km per hour with an acceleration of 2 meters per second. The change in a momentum of the motor after moving for 5 seconds is number 2. Discussion. From the question, it is known M is 100 kg. Velocity 1 is 40 km per jam is 11,11 meter per second. A is 2 meter per second. The
5 seconds. First, we have to find the speed after 5 seconds. I is different V divided T. Different V is A multiplication T. Velocity 2 minus velocity 1 is I multiplication T. Velocity 2 is velocity 1 plus I multiplication T. Velocity 2 is 11,11 plus 2,5 is 21,11 meter per second. So the change in momentum can be obtained by different P is I is M different V. Different P is M multiplication velocity 2 minus velocity 1. Different P is 100 multiplication 21,11 minus 11,11. Different P is 2000 kilogram multiplication meter per second is 2 K and S. 2 K and S. So the correct is A. 2 K and S.
Okay, next, number 3. Okay, a ball with a mass of 0,1 kilogram is at first stationary. Then after being hit with a stick and the ball speed becomes 20 meters per second. Calculate the impulse of the hitting force.
This question known M is 0,1 kilogram. Velocity 1 0 meter per second because the ball is at rest at first. Velocity 2 is 20 meter per second. Wanted impulse. Answer I is momentum 2 minus momentum 1. I is M multiplication velocity 2 minus velocity 1. I is 0,1 multiplication 20 minus 0. I is 2 and S. So the impulse of the to and s.
The last, number 4. Okay. A ball with mass of 0,2 kilogram is at rest. Then it is hit so that the ball travels at a speed of 150 meters per second. If the duration of the hitter touching the ball is 0,1 second, then the magnitude of the hitting force is
Okay. Noun. M is 0,2 kilogram. Velocity 1 is 0 meter per second. Ball is at rest at first. Velocity 2 is 150 meter per second. Difference is 0,1 second. Wanted hitting force F. Answer. Remember the Impuls formula. I is F multiplication difference, or I is meter multiplication velocity 2 minus velocity 1. From this formula, it is obtained F multiplication difference is M multiplication velocity 2 minus velocity 1. F multiplication 0,1 is 0,2 multiplication 150 minus 0. F multiplication 0,1 is 30. F is F is 30 divided 0,1 is 300 Newton. So the correct is 300 Newton. Thank you
for watching. Sorry if there is a wrong word or action. Hopefully this is useful. Wabillahi taufiq walhidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you next time.